So, okay, I got 40 minutes to try again. It's been a busy day. Busy, busy, busy. Um, yep, yep. So I've been using Black Box AI to help me assemble my validation process with authentication, with all of the right bits and pieces and parts to actually get through this. And it's taken me some time because I haven't been able to get all the parts to work. I've gotten my authentication working, but it didn't have validation. I got calls to my authentication working, but again, they didn't have verification and validation of the token. So I tried to get validation of the token put in, but it was telling me to put in a alternate option of validation and verification. So in other words, mine was um, mine was trying to use Auth to open API. Okay, what? All right, let's see if there's this. I'm trying to Auth 2.0. So basically, in all of this learning, I've learned how to do this using the identity model, using Auth API, using. I also have actually put in code to have it done through what do they call it, deterministic flow, or something like that. I think that was what it was called, deterministic flow, and that's actually the deprecated form, but that's what it gave me one time. I'm like, I don't want to use that. Let's use OAuth or something, or, another thing. And it tried to use API key, and I didn't want to use API key. Well, actually, I was trying to use API key, and it gave me Auth 2.0. I decided to look up and learn about Auth API, Auth 2.0, and API key. So the code I was following at first, my original Auth API was using API keys. But apparently that's not necessarily the best way to go. Now there's also OICD, OpenID Connect, OIDC. And sounds like that might not be applicable to my my goals. Okay, so it's kind of what you would use if you're doing like Facebook, Google, Microsoft, whatever logins. So I chose not to do that. And I took some notes just because I wanted it. It's just basic stuff. So my authentication, I've decided to go with attempting to implement JSON Web Token as a bearer token. Mainly because I can pass more information back using a JSON Web Token, but it's also opaque because the bearer tokens are opaque, allowing them to be a little bit more secure. So it's kind of like I'm taking the best of both. JWT bearer token versus a regular JWT token versus just a bearer token. A bearer token doesn't allow you to transport extra info. Now my understanding is if I use a JWT bearer token, I can transport extra info in there, like username and email and whatever, so that kind of stuff. Okay, it does make it more complicated, so I'm not sure how that's going to go, but hey, got to learn it, right? So OAuth 2.0, it's showing me. What threw me off in this statement is here's an example of how to use JWT bearer tokens with Swagger, which is fine. Open API in an ASP.NET Core API. So, which is what I'm doing. First, you generate JWT tokens for the API. You can use a library that's what I'm doing. I do identity model.tokens. So let's go over to my program.cs. Now I have Microsoft, or is it system even? All right, so this one is a little bit different. I got Open API models, but they're saying using system.identityModel.tokens.jwt, and it's going to be different simply because this is different from all the other options I've taken so far. I'm basically rewriting this again, going through. Originally, I was trying to get validation into my API key code, and it was giving me, this is how you do the validation, but this is not how you do the validation for this kind of a key. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not working. It doesn't like this. So I started going through and saying, give me an example that has the creation, that actually uses validation, and has an auth endpoint on my authorization stuff. And this has gotten really, 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 really long. As you can see, this is a really long page now full of all of my code. And it's basically, it comes down to, how do I get this to, I almost want to re-ask the question and just say, give me just the basics. But it's so hard to get the questions right. I mean, you're constantly, basically what it comes down to is you keep improving how you ask the questions and how detailed you give the question. And I'm surprised, it actually surprises me. I've actually had several sentences long of description of what I want with Black Box AI or even ChatGPT, which has been fine. And it discerns all the pieces and gives you the code back for what you're asking. And I've always tried to do these succinct, because I always have, my problems have always been that with AI, that if you give it too much, it kind of goes bleh, just spits out something. Mostly because a lot of my experience has been trying to use image creator models, image creator AI, which if you give it too much, it can give you some, but it really just kind of picks and chooses what it's going to keep in the image, rather than trying to give you an image that has everything you ask for. So you can't tell what it's going to give. So I was like, you know, this ChatGPT, it's okay, it does all right. And you're constantly trying to reword it so it sounds like it's all in there. You're finding what works, what doesn't. Same thing with image generation. It comes down to this, but so far it seems like the ChatGPT, Black Box AI, whatever, whichever one you're using, they seem to be pretty close. I haven't seen a whole lot of difference in how much one's better than the other. But it is giving me clues and directions. It seems to be able to handle everything. But see, like, this thing is going to have to be completely redone, mostly because it's not including all the bits that I want, and I want to do it. Next, you need to configure Swagger Open API to use JWT tokens. And then Swagger UI. Builder.services. So I got Open API models. I do have Open API models. Generate a JWT token. Token handler, new JWT security token handler, encoding my secret key. So we have to use a secret key. I'm not with the JWT stuff, it looks like, which is fine. I have a key defined already. I just need to bring it in. Expires to time UTC. Configure Swagger Open. Are these different? Do they expect these to be in different pages or in the same pages? Am I just defining it? All right, I got to re-ask the question. I want this to give me an example. So I don't know what this is saying. It says, here an example of how to generate a token. Okay, well, that's doable. But I feel like it lost the sight of the original question. I'm going to go up here and re-ask the original question, just with the details I've met. How to validate .NET 8 Auth Web API bearer token with validation. Nope. Oh, and then I said I wanted it to all be in one. I am using program.cs. Nope. I'm getting malformed token error. Nope. I want to use Swagger to test. Okay. Does it make a difference if I'm using identity server? Okay. Okay. I need an example of a dot. Okay, all right. No, let's go back. How do I define a .NET 8 Auth API that uses Swagger to test JWT bearer tokens and includes a token validation includes code for token validation and a corresponding endpoint. This is like the longest, most detailed thing I've got. So I want a JWT bearer token. I want it to be a .NET 8 Auth API using and uses OAuth 2.0. OAuth 2, whatever. All right, let's see what it does. Let's see how much, if I was too much detail, did I throw it off? Here's an example of how you define 8 API that uses Swagger to test bearer tokens and includes a code for token validation corresponding endpoint and uses OAuth 2. Create a new .NET 8 web API application. Okay, got that. I already got that. Add Swagger and OAuth 2 packages. It's not telling me where to put these though. My app uses program.cs. Got it. Here at the example of how to configure Swagger OAuth 2 JWT bearer tokens in 8 project using program.cs. Okay. Plus, I want to see how close it is to what I already have. This is it puts it all together for me. It's all there. This is programming with Backbox AI. Ask the question specifically and learn and understand. And you still got to learn and understand the bits that it's giving you, because you got to know what you're sticking in there, what you got to put back, and ultimately it's really a lot of stuff, right? Because it says JW bearer tokens. Okay, so let's go here. This is a long piece of string. Token controller CS. This is where it's going to actually do the token part, which is going to do the validation. So I am going to copy this. I wasn't going to. I want to see how close it is. So we got web application create builder args. So we got that. That's the very first thing, right? Web application create builder args. Yay. We've got AMG authorized data. They are doing JWT bearer, which is slightly different. That's why I'm copying it. Authentication OAuth 2. I don't have that in here, but I am using OAuth 2 because I feel like that's the better solution, right? I've gone through a lot here. I kind of decided that OpenID Connect is not the best choice. I'm gonna go ask ChatGPT a question here. Oops. I'm not logged in. Whatever, man. Log in. Before I apply this, just because I feel like I need to be a little bit more informed, I'm going with OAuth 2. I've kind of decided on that, okay? But I got to do one last sanity check. OpenID Connect. When should I use OpenID Connect over OAuth 2? Right. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I knew OpenID kind of builds off of OAuth 2, adding an identity layer. In practice, you'll often see both used together for authentication, who the user is, and OAuth 2 for authorization, what the user can do. See, this one does access to user profile information. Can provide access to a user's profile information such as their email address, name, and other claims directly from the identity provider. Accessing third-party APIs. If your application needs to access resources on another service, OAuth 2 is primarily used for authorization, not authentication. It's used to grant access to resources without exposing user credentials. Okay, so authorization is to allow, authentication is to confirm who they are. So, when you need application to handle user logins, SSO, and user profile management, when your application needs to access resources from a third-party API on behalf of users, such as retrieving calendar events from Google Calendar. In summary, use OpenID Connect when authentication is required, and use OAuth 2 for authorization when you need to grant access. So, please rewrite this so that it will also use OpenID Connect for authentication. One of these days I'm going to write a question that's going to say, I can't do that. It's like this. I may have just did it. It's like, don't know. You broke me, man. Maybe not. Okay, maybe it was smart enough to figure it out. Let's see what it says. Add the following packages. Program CS. All right. We got quite a bit going on here in the program CS. All right. Add the following code to configure Swagger. All right. Well, mine is broken, and I also have this checked in. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. Just going to go ahead and overwrite everything. Let's see what it does. Create a new .NET API. I already have that. So I'm using my API here. Let's go ahead and add these. Do I need these? I have OAuth and OpenID Connect. I think I have all of that stuff. Actually, I don't know if I have OpenID Connect, to be honest. Now that I think about it, I might not. So that's Swagger. Swagger is set up here. They just have the Swagger doc. So their Swagger is this. I'm going to replace this just because that's all I need. Copy. So Swagger is this. I'm actually, I know I'm going to go ahead and copy the controllers. I have the controllers at the bottom. I felt like it should be at the bottom, but maybe not. All right, so this is Swagger being replaced. So we're going to replace my Swagger with their Swagger. How come it doesn't have the endpoints part, though? That's interesting. So it's got Swagger in here, Swashbuckle, createbuilder.orgs, but it doesn't have the Endpoints Explorer. Why didn't it include the Endpoints Explorer? I'm not going to take that out yet. I don't know why that's not in there. I feel like it should be. Huh. He's kind of taking some unnecessary, kind of curious shortcuts, to be honest. You know, instead of using... I don't know. I think it's kind of weird. I'm going to go options. I like options. I feel like options is a better description of what's going on. I don't know. C is just what? C. I mean, what are you telling me there, C? What's the variable name there? Options is what it is, because you can do a lot of things in here. It could be multiple pieces, and therefore I feel like it's a weird shortcut to just put C. All right, so we got our Swagger piece. And from there, we got whatever has to go underneath that. Now, we've already installed. We've got our Swagger. Let's go on to the next piece. Now, it's saying this is the OAuth piece. Now, I got to have the correct tokens defined. Now the only usings it's got in here is swashbuckle and these guys. So I'm going to put these in. I feel like that's not going to be enough, but where is swashbuckle? Swashbuckle. Here it is. So it's saying I don't have those installed. What's the problem with this one? Swashbuckle. Oh, because it's not using filters? Because it's not using filters. Alright, it's taking some interesting shortcuts on me. Swashbuckle.asp.NET Core Swagger. Oh, this is using Swagger. Well, it is Swagger. It is swashbuckle.asp.NET Core Swagger instead of filters. Huh. Interesting. All right, well, let's keep going. Let's see. Maybe it's just different because I'm using a different format. So let's go here. We're going to go get bash. Sure, go get bash. Let's go install these guys. Add the following packages to your project. The only one there is Auth 2 and OpenID Connect, which apparently I don't have. But I am adding that. I know it's new, so we're going to add this. Tools. OpenID Connect. Microsoft Identity Model Protocols. Nope. ASP.NET authentication. Let's go here. ASP.NET Core authentication. Here we go. ASP.NET authentication. I'm installing so much stuff. I wonder if it's possible to know which ones are being used and which ones aren't. And then we're going to go Auth authentication again. But instead of OpenID Connect, it's going to be Auth 2. Oh, there's an interesting fact. Look, there's no Auth 2. Is that O like 0? Can't be 0, right? Auth 2 introspection. Auth. Okay. Is it telling me about something that doesn't exist? I didn't think so. Auth. Huh. Doesn't exist, my friend. What are you trying to tell me here? ASP net core dot authentication Auth 2. Nope. Auth 2. It's not there. So unless it's already installed, is it already installed? ASP net core dot authentication. Interesting. It's not there. I don't know why it's not there, but it's not there. But I should probably update all these. Okay. Hmm. Doesn't exist. Does not exist. I don't know what to do here. Let's see. Auth 2. Zero Net Standard OAuth 2. Google APIs OAuth 2. Microsoft Owen. .NET OpenAuth OAuth 2. All right. Does not exist in package manager. Okay, so I don't need that, it's basically saying, which is funny. I made a mistake and then, oh, whoops, sorry. Okay, wow, that's trippy, man. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm a computer. I slipped. I slipped, man. Okay. Let's go see if the JWT thing is there. Let's see, which one am I missing? So I don't need this one, I think. Oh, it's already there. I already have JWT bearer. And OAuth 2 says I can use OpenID Connect instead, and that's what I'm using here. That's what this says. OpenID Connect. Okay. So, yeah, let's just do this. Yeah, well, let's see what this does. So here's an updated example of how to configure OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect. All right, so we're going to have this instead. So I just want to make sure that I've got the stuff that came before it. So authentication is the first thing that's going to come after the Swagger stuff. So we're going to go down here and I'm going to copy this one, I guess. And underneath the Swagger, we're just going to add the authentication stuff. I'm taking this whole thing out just because, and it goes all the way down to, I don't know, here. I'll take it out there. Okay, so it's formatting it. It's trying to put it in. These can't. No, wait, don't need these here. Never mind, go away. I didn't need that much copy, I guess. Okay, so my title on this is going to be AMG Authorized, because that's what this is called. AMG Authorized. Version V1, whatever. And is it the version of my app? Because it's the version of my app, I guess it doesn't matter, right? If I update it or change it, it'll be version 2.0, V2. All right, so we got that. Okay, so my audience is going to be amgauthorized.com, right? My Auth API, myauthserver.com. I'm going to ask another question. Does this use SQL Server? To store? Does this use SQL Server? Because that's what I'm trying to use. in-memory. How does that work? How do you use in-memory authentication? Because doesn't it need to store... I have... Use the database context. Because I feel like... Once again, I feel... Do I need to do that? And how does in-memory... Because it says this uses... Instead it uses in-memory token validation authentication. How does in-memory validation work to remember user login info? Also known as in-memory authentication, is a mechanism where the authentication data is stored in the application's memory instead of a persistent storage like a database. This approach is often used for development, testing, or demo purposes, as it's easy to set up and doesn't require a separate database. In the context of authentication, in-memory validation typically involves storing user credentials, such as a username and passwords, in a data structure like a dictionary or a list. When a user attempts to log in, the application checks the provided credentials against the stored data in memory. Oh, well, see, then, yeah, I don't want that. Okay, so I definitely want to use SQL Server. This is just for like testing and watching it work against a list, which I'm not going to do. Okay. I don't know. Do I need to have it rewrite it? It might not have to rewrite it. I could probably do this. Add entity framework core. So I need to have this in here. Copy. I want to sort my usings pretty soon. I like to have them kind of a little bit more. Oh, that's add package. I don't think I need to do this. I feel like I had this at one point. I don't know why it's gone, but I'm gonna. Oh wait, using Microsoft Identity Framework Core. Oh, I do. There it is. I do have this. Microsoft Identity Framework Core. It's right there. Okay, so I do have it. Never mind. Okay, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna add this if I don't have it already. We're going to put this guy. Copy. This is kind of what I had earlier, and this is part of. This actually might. I already have the database. I gotta go see if I have it set up here. Data context. See, I already got that going. And this is migrations. See. Model builder, model builder. So this is just building the DB context and the, which I believe is what this guy is, data context. So I got the data context, identity DB context. Well, it's data context, DB context, whatever. But they're doing it slightly different. We got framework core. They're doing identity DB context. They're just using DB context. Create a new class that inherits from DB context and defines a database schema, which I already have. That's it's weird watching doing it differently here. I want to make sure my schema at least comes close, because that's probably what it needs to be looking like. I don't really want to build my database again. I'm just trying to see that my database has what this is expecting. Because at some point I just got to connect the database. So here, because that's just creating the DB context, and then I'm going to have it reference it. And I already have a connection string. Let's go to program.cs. If it's got a problem with it, like it's expecting certain pieces, like ID, username, like I have a user here. And this is name, create table. See, this is creating a class user, but I have a ASP.NET users in the database. Use database, context, and authentication. So we're going to do that, and then, so really, or add the entity framework core package to your project, done, create database. I just got to make sure it's going to use and reference it the same. And my users have an ID, yes. Is there a username? Yes. Is there a password hash? Yes. Okay, so we got the same bits. Now we're going to go to class authentication token, ASP role claims, ASP.NET roles. Oh, here's the claims. Claims. Oh, that's authentication token. Never mind. What did I create up here? ASP.NET claims, ASP.NET claims. User logins, roles, tokens, ASP user tokens. Okay, so we need an ID, token, expiration, user ID, and users. No, none of that matches. Down. I don't have any of that information on my token. I'm definitely going a different direction, which is definitely making me build. Definitely making me build this a little bit different. That's just the class though, that's not even a database creation. Public MyDB context. To add the following code to configure entity framework. See, I have, oh, I had a DB context in here. So if I go to git repos, and I go to my program.cs, program.cs, and I go here. Why can't I view the history? Compare with unmodified. What? Why can't I look at it? All right, let's go back here. Time is it? Ah, my time's up, guys. I'm at it again. Once again, I failed to make enough progress as I continue to learn how this stuff works, and trying different directions and paths to getting this. I feel like I'm gonna get there. It's just pieces, you know. You know what? Did I not check in? I created the branch but didn't actually check it in. I thought I added everything to the branch, but as you can see, I did not. And my code is just the stupid attributes. One commit. Why did it not add everything? I don't know. I thought I did it. Gargly murgly. Okay, well, I'll have to make sure everything else is added. But I gotta stop. That's it, man. Time's up. I'm gonna get there. This is gonna get done. One or the other. I'm gonna have this all finished. I'm gonna be a pro pretty soon. Till then, you take it easy.